Welcome to Let's Get to Unboxed. Now your host, James Christopher.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Let's Get to Unboxed. I am your host, James Christopher, and today we reap what we sow from National Hat Day. I've actually got 4 boxes in front of me that contain, I'd love to tell you right now, I know exactly how many hats are in here, but I don't. Before we get started though, I do want to do a shout out to the Missoula Paddleheads. That's the hat we're wearing today. This is one of their Flex Fit hats. It's a great design, a great brand. I highly recommend checking it out. And we do want to do a shout out to Zoomer Sport, who has signed on to be one of the sponsors of Let's Get To this season. So you'll see us periodically shouting them out on some of our videos, and they'll have a presence on our podcast as well. So thank you, Zoomer, so much for supporting our show. So National Hat Day came and went. It's been about 10 days, I guess, and finally everything arrived, and we're super excited. I noticed that everything came in pretty much coast to coast. We've got some stuff from Pennsylvania and then some stuff from California and Oregon, a couple of which are teams that we'll be seeing this year, and so we're very excited. And we're going to start with McKenzie, Oregon, where Oregon's a great state if you haven't been. My daughter's from there. And this year, we're going to be checking out 2 minor league teams in Oregon. And let's look at the first one, which we did untape the box. I have not looked in the box, but we'll see. And the first one is one of the great designs from the Eugene Emeralds. We love the look of the Eugene Emeralds, the whole Sasquatch Bigfoot thing, and really capturing that Pacific Northwest vibe, both in the trees and in the color scheme. We're going to be up there in June, and I'm not going to lie to you, another big reason why we love it, they have partnered in 2013 with Voodoo Donuts to offer a bacon maple bratwurst with the Stockton ports in California. We're going to actually be out in Stockton for the All-Star game this year. Tremendously excited, and let's see what we got from Stockton. First things first, as I've said before, when you include the bag from the Pro Shop, that's just a big selling point for us. It makes us feel a little bit more connected to the team. It looks like we have 2 caps from them. We have the official game day hat. The Stockton ports capture the vibe of Stockton, a port city with the iconic anchor and baseball look. And then we have their Copa de la Diversión identity. Their Copa identity, the Caballos de Stockton, is one of our favorite looks, capturing the Iron Horse, representing the trains that brought some of the first settlers to Stockton. So now we'll stay in California, and we're going to head to the capital of Sacramento. Huge Arnold Schwarzenegger fan, and he got to be governor of California. Or should I say, California got to have Arnold as the governor. I'm not saying that the Terminator being governor would be awesome, because everyone knows it would be awesome. In Texas, it'd be like having Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris should be governor of Texas. And again, great touch from the River Cats, including the bag and a schedule, so that way you can get out to some of the ball games. And here we have one of the River Cats in-game caps. We love the iconic look of the Sacramento River Cats, who are entering their 20th season this year. Congratulations. And our final hat comes from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the Harrisburg Senators. They are the minor league affiliate of the Washington Nationals. And I know it's still very soon for Astros fans out there, but it's got a great design. So let's see. Again, the bag from the Pro Shop, great touch. So we have their Christmas hat. Look, there's a couple things I love in this world. I love America, and I love Christmas minor league baseball hat. I think this is the 3rd or 4th that I own. This is a great look, and I can't wait to wear it next December. And then we also got one of the in-game hats. We love the stylized H with the red, white, and blue across it for a really great classic look for the Harrisburg Senators, the latest incarnation of a team that's existed in one way, shape, or form since 1893. So thank you for checking out this edition of Let's Get To Unboxed with our celebration of National Hat Day by celebrating the spoils that came on National Hat Day as all of these discounts were flying through. We had a great time going through all of the different hat designs, and these are the ones we picked, and we're pretty excited about it. This will actually be the last edition of Let's Get To Unboxed like this. These will be the last hats that are going to represent hats that I bought online on a whim. With opening day fast approaching and the launch of the Let's Get To podcast season 2 happening in just under 2 weeks, we will transition from hats I order online to hats I buy at the pro shop, stuff like that. So we'll still be showing you some of the great merchandise from minor league baseball, from the independent leagues, and from collegiate summer leagues. It'll just be stuff I actually get at the park. So I'm tremendously excited. Now, season 2 of Let's Get To starts on February 11th. We've got some great guests already planned out. We're going to be having the curator of the Negro League Museum on to talk about the 100th anniversary of the Negro Leagues. But we've also got some really exciting news about the show. Due to the demand and due to how broad of a reach we want to have, we're actually going to be going to 2 episodes a week once the Major League season starts. In part because one of our focus has always been the fan experience. What do fans like about baseball? And you can't ignore the major leagues. You can't ignore the fact that even though it's Major League Baseball, which is a game universal to all levels of the sport, the fan experience in different cities with different followings is just different. And so we're excited to have a really wide group of people that are going to come on to talk about their fandom. We're really excited about it. And if you actually are a fan of a team and that we're not talking about enough, reach out to us. We'd love to have you on. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about an interaction that I had in regards to fandom and how it represented the low point that we're reaching with Major League Baseball fans, and honestly, one of the best parts of being a part of this community. So, anybody that's watched these videos or seen the background or paid attention to our podcast know that I am a diehard Astros fan. I have pretty much grown up in the Astrodome. I was an Astros buddy. My first real understanding of what Major League Baseball was 1986, losing to the Mets and all of that pain. And I've talked very little about the sign stealing scandal, in part because the mission of our show isn't really to be salacious and to deal with scandal. And it's just because that scandal is involving our team. The only scandal we've really talked about and will continue to talk about is minor league contraction, because it fits right into the wheelhouse of our show. However, I have addressed it, and I'll address it again here, that there are a lot of things that are happening with the nature of Major League Baseball fandom and this story. I believe the Astros cheated, were wrong, deserved the punishment, and would even be open to the fact that maybe the punishment wasn't harsh enough. I think that if they really are going to have punished the GM and the manager for running a bad culture, then the owner probably should have been punished a little bit more than he was. However, admitting that, knowing that, I still believe that the Astros were not the only ones involved. And I think it's clear that people should know that when discussing that and when saying, hey, lots of other teams are doing it, Ken Rosenthal said so, Tom Verducci said so, other players have said so, it isn't as if someone saying that wants the Astros to be exonerated. That's not the case. At least it's not for me, and it's not the case for most Astros fans that I know. However, the longer that it's not discussed, and the longer that it looks like nothing's going to happen to the Red Sox, and as long as other teams that were mentioned don't even get so much as an investigation, Astros fans feel scapegoated, and more casual baseball fans feel like it truly was something the Astros invented, and now all of a sudden they are the villain. And I think in the world that we live in today, where things are getting more and more toxic and more lacking in nuance, we result in what ended up happening to my grandson this past week, where we saw the worst in fandom, where a 2-year-old kid who lives in Oregon was at a Target with his mother, who is 7 months pregnant, wearing an Astros hat, and was verbally assaulted by an older man, telling him that the hat needs to come off, that they are cheaters, blah, 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 blah. To a 2-year-old with a 7-month-old pregnant woman. Think about that. And a couple of things hit me. One, that kid, or any other Astros fan, banged no trash cans, have endured harassment, for being fans have been sort of caught up in this thing. And now I get it, it's Twitter, and Twitter's definitely like the worst part of humanity. And there's this lack of understanding because I think most people realize that just like Astros fans didn't bang a trash can, Cubs fans didn't inject Sosa, you know, all fans are caught up in this, and all fans are losing. And the thing that got to worry me, because Major League Baseball has not really done anything to address this as a league-wide issue, which most, I think, people that are intelligent think it's a league-wide issue, it's almost created this carte blanche situation in regards to Astros and their fans. And the thing that I got concerned about was we're talking about a Wednesday afternoon in January at a Target in Oregon. What is going to happen to Astros fans when they go to Oakland or when they go to Yankee Stadium? We saw what happened in the playoffs with a guy getting beer thrown at him at the urinal. Like, what's happening? Because we're talking again about a baseball game in which fans have no part, and in which fans are doing nothing more than fanning, getting this treatment. And I don't think that, you should be super polite to me when I go. Like, yeah, obviously, if I show up at a ball game and I'm going to be at 8 road games, I fully expect to have some verbal barbs thrown my way. I would expect nothing less. But I think we can stop it at children. We can stop it like I saw at the cancer victim that I saw online. So I understand that I'm going to be wearing Astros gear, and so I'm going to get probably some banging jokes and some buzzer jokes and all that fun stuff. But here's the thing, and I'll quote Mike Gundy. I'm a man. I can handle it. And, I'm a man who for 7 years was in the military with a combat arms job, who has seen some stuff. And so it's going to take a little bit more than that to intimidate me. But to a child who doesn't know any of this stuff, he just calls it his ball team, and he puts his hat on, and he probably in his 2-year-old mind associates it with me and my wife and getting to be here and go to ball games. He doesn't need that. But something good did happen out of all this. And a guy that I would consider a friend, I've never met him in real life. We've only met on Twitter. He is a big Dodgers fan, and he read my first kind of writing about this sign scandal. And I talked about how, I'm going to be a fan of the Astros. Regardless, it's possible to be a fan of a team. They can screw up, and I can acknowledge the screw up and still be a fan. I think it's integrity, actually. You don't bail on something for something like that. You don't just quit. And so we struck up a conversation, we struck up a friendship, and he messaged me, and he had seen my tweet about what happened to my grandson, and I could tell he felt shitty about it, and he didn't like that it went down. And he said he had some Astros gear that he wanted to send to my grandson to somehow maybe make it a little bit better. And I just thought, how awesome is that? Because it's a very human thing to do. And I don't want to say that it was one of these daily reminders that humankind is pretty awesome, but it kind of was. And it made me feel, or at least reminded me that we're mostly good. And that most people are good. And that what we interact with in these like quick interactions on Twitter, most anything, aren't indicative of how we actually are as humans. I mean, even the way I interact with some people isn't how I am all the time with humans. So it was, I think, one of those really cool things about baseball and about fandom where, this kid had an interaction that he doesn't understand that probably freaked him out a little bit and definitely upset my kid. And a human with a different fan allegiance who has more right to probably be more mad at that team than any other fan base out there, felt the need for this child to be comforted more than some kind of gotcha moment. And I think it's a really great thing, and it's a really big part of what I think baseball fandom can do. You know, it's one thing, I mentioned earlier about the guy getting the beer can thrown at him at Yankee Stadium, when there's another fan that was harassed. And it was one thing for like Lance McCullers, an Astros pitcher, to take care of him and get him taken care of. It's another thing for someone with no reason to be generous other than it's the human thing to do. And I think that was a great thing. So that's why we started the show. We love baseball fans. We love all of their experiences. And I can't wait to talk to them. I can't wait to share those experiences and learn a little bit more about what it's like to be a Brewer fan or you know, a Padres fan. We're even going to have a Rangers fan on the show. And that is a big deal for me. So again, thanks for listening to this rant. Thank you for watching all of our unboxings. Thank you for listening to the show. We'll be back February 11th with some really good content. And we've also got some more video content that we think will be interesting to people coming up. So enjoy the rest of the off season. Pitchers and catchers will be reporting before we know it. And so until then, let's get to.